We're in South LA now, on Hoover. And would call the streets for me because I okay. Well, Glenn and Lou, we have a pursuit here of a DUI suspect. We're southbound on Hoover. Just went through about 79th. This all started about 3 o'clock down in the Carson area. Sheriff's Department was chasing it and then handed it off CHP as they got up into the downtown area. And then he got off in Hollywood, started driving kind of crazy through the streets of Hollywood. CHP decided to back off because of that. And now they've gone into what they call a surveillance mode, but they've just now re-engaged here. As we're watching, I believe those are LAPD units that are here. There's a LA County helicopter overhead calling the pursuit for them, and it's been at points very slow and then at points very fast. And right now it looks like we're in that slow mode. We're kind of having to stay out wide because we're under the approach for LAX. We got to give the police helicopters a little room to work. But as you can see, he's working his way slowly along Hoover here. It's that vehicle right there, as you see from the buildings. He's, like I say, he's in the slow mode right now. He's been running red lights, now going on the wrong side of the street, pushing through that intersection, and then continuing on here. So a very slow speed pursuit, but it is dangerous at times. Apparently, when they start kind of pushing on him, he'll take off and run red lights and then cut people off. But at this point, looks like he's pretty sedate. He's, again, southbound Hoover, just going through Manchester here in the South LA area. But they'll just stick with him until they figure out what's going on with this guy and they can get him to come to a stop. Haven't heard any information about pit maneuvers or spike strips, but we'll kind of keep an ear out for that. But he's coming towards us now, coming up towards Figueroa. And Figueroa is going to be the street he's coming up to now. As he comes through here, you see his low speed rolling out here, now turning south on Figueroa, and coming up there, you see how quickly he just made the turn. Luckily, that car was watching, and is cut off another car, and so right now it's continuing here. Kind of low speed, but kind of dangerous as this guy moves his way along with LAPD behind him. We don't have map. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet on the roads here through the South Atlanta as we've been talking about for the last several weeks. But the surface streets down here still have a lot of cars on them as he works his way through these neighborhoods. A lot of folks still moving around here in the South LA areas. But it's not the afternoon traffic that we are used to as we blow through the streets here. And now turning here to the left, coming back towards the Harbor. Harbor Freeway, they'll bring him over here. But I have a lot of an eye out for that, but luckily this guy is not driving that fast. Once again, this is a DUI driver out of Carson, started about 3 o'clock, and they've been chasing him ever since. He comes up the intersection, makes that slow right turn here, kind of swinging around. And now continuing south on Broadway from 99th Street. Yeah, Broadway south from 99th, Glenn. What? I didn't hear you. Speak up. Were? Yep. Thank you. Well, Glenn and Lou, we just found out that he hit a spike strip up there on Broadway, and he's now just turned east on 104th Street. And so hopefully, they said it was a good spike. Well, hopefully he did take out a couple tires as he went over those spike strips. It's going to take a little bit for those tires to go down. And as we've watched on these pursuits, it takes a while for it to go down. Then it takes a while for those tires to wear out and come off the rims. Now, turning here back northbound on Main from 104. So very slow rate of speed. LAPD is, I believe, the units behind him. Actually, no, it's Sheriff's. You're right. Sheriff's behind him as we go a slow speed here going to the north. And so it's just a matter of time for those tires start going flat, and then we deal with the tires coming off the rim, and that takes a bit for those tires to wear out and come off. So as we continue here southbound, and you see he's very slow, and so right now it's just a matter of a waiting game to wait for those tires to give up. And once they do that, then they'll go into their stop. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units behind him as we go through Manchester again here northbound on Main Street, continuing here, very slow rate of speed. I'm sorry, Glenn. I lost IFB if you asked me a question. Can you ask again? Yeah. I'm sorry, our IFB is really spotty in this location right now, but if you were saying something about a pit, yeah, this is a perfect time for the pit at this slow rate of speed. Very little traffic either direction on Main Street here, but I don't know if the sheriffs are pit qualified, to tell you the truth. I don't ever remember seeing a sheriff do a pit maneuver right off the top of my head. So should they get the CHP back in here or an LAPD unit in here, then they would do it. But here we make a little turn here to the left at 95th Street off of Main Street. So it's just a slow game here. Maybe they'll throw another spike strip out. I see units up ahead of them getting out in front, so maybe another spike strip going to be coming out. But we try not to give that up because we don't like to let the bad guys know what's going on or what's ahead of them. But I can tell you there's police cars all over this neighborhood surrounding this pursuit. Yeah, it's very slow speed, but then again, it's going through these intersections. Everybody else out on the road here doesn't know what's going on, and they're traveling along regular speed, not expecting somebody just to cross over right in front of them. So the suspect may not be the problem, but if he pulls out in front of somebody, then that causes issues. So, I mean, just very slow speed here as he comes up. Going to make this southbound turn here as we come towards us. On Town Street as we work our way south here from 99th. So it's just a very slow speed, working his way along, and another turn here heading back to the west and off from town. So we're dealing with a lot of things going here with the area units overhead. We have CHP area unit overhead now over the top of the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's Department is actually in charge of the pursuit. And also then we're having to stay below the jets coming into LAX, so it's kind of a tight area for us to fly. But it looks like with the pursuit going so slow, it's not an issue up here for us. But on the ground, you can see he just rolls up to these intersections and then slowly goes through them. So that's good to keep from to keep from having any kind of issues with people on the ground. But now he's picking up just a little more speed. But as I was saying, it's going to take a while for those tires to wear out, basically be cut off by the rims as they roll on flat on the asphalt. And then usually at the higher speeds, they come off pretty quick as they heat up and basically burn off. And then you'll see those circles of rubber come rolling off the tire, and then they're down on rims. But here, because of slow speeds and the way he's driving, it's really not going to be that quick now, but it will happen eventually with the turns. And hopefully, as most vehicles like this are front-wheel drive, he'll turn and then just roll the tire off the rim. And then once he gets down to the rims, and the ability for that vehicle to accelerate or maneuver is diminished quite a bit. As he comes around that corner kind of wide, you see the traffic, one car just sitting there, and here with the LA Sheriff's right behind him now, coming now southbound he's on Wall Street right now, coming southbound back towards Manchester here. So we seem to be circling this one area. As you were saying, Lou, they like to run back to areas that they're familiar with. Sometimes that's the case, but this guy has come from a long ways out of Carson, down there about 3 o'clock, all the way up through Hollywood, down through Hollywood, through the Coliseum area, the USC area, and then now here on Wall, just on the east side of the 110 freeway, approaching Manchester. So we've gone a long ways, and if he's run back home, he was a long ways from home when this started, but right now it's just a matter of time before those tires give up and come off the rim, and we come to a stop. Like I said, at this point, if the sheriffs were capable of doing that pit maneuver, they would have done it. Like I said, I don't remember if they are pit qualified or pit trained, so with that, it's going to be just a matter of following until the vehicle gives up. Yeah, it's just a matter of training, and with such a large department and having to stay recurrent and go through with training every year to keep you proficient, it just becomes an issue with money and time and ability to put that all together. So with the Sheriff's Department, I'm not sure why they haven't done it, but then again, the Sheriff's Department were the first ones to start stopping pursuits. I mean, they start chasing somebody for something less than a felony, they will call off the pursuit. So probably with that in mind, thinking that they're not going to need it because they don't chase that many people anymore. So, like I said, for years now, the Sheriff's Department has been very reluctant to chase anybody unless it was a felony. And so at that point, I just imagine, just coming from law enforcement myself and having dealt with law enforcement for so long, it's more likely a money thing, and also a logistics of getting that many deputies trained and stay in currency with a pursuit. Because I know when I worked for Huntington Beach PD, we had every year we had to go through EVOC training, or emergency vehicle operation, and so we had to learn how to, one, drive pursuits, and two, do that pit maneuver, which pit maneuver took all day. So all day one day, and then the second day would be just driving at high speeds and maneuvering. So I got a feeling that might be the issue here with the sheriffs. But, it's nothing to take away from them. I mean, they do what they need to do, and most of their pursuits come to a successful end, or like this, somebody else picks them up and, chases it for them. But now that we're down here at a low rate of speed, they've taken back over and just going to work the streets here in South LA. So right now it's just watch and wait, see what happens on the end of this one. Well, that's all up to the agency, and pretty much if they're on it, they have plenty of units. It's a DUI, a misdemeanor. I would pretty much guarantee the 77th Watch Commander is telling his guys stay away from it. And if they ask for them to take it over, they probably won't, because, one, it's a misdemeanor. TV5, Roger. Well, I got part of that information, part of that question there. How many people are in the car, we don't know right now. I don't know if there's any passengers in there or not. I haven't got close enough to see what's inside that car, but it's just a matter, of following and trying to get close. But the problem is I can't get close because of the other air units overhead. They have the sheriff's air unit down low, and the CHP air unit decided to come in and help out too. So we're having to stay out of his way as well. So it's kind of a dance for us up here. So if I could get closer to look in there, I would do it. But right now it's really impossible for me to do that. But we're turned back south here. Looks like we're back on Main Street, actually San Pedro now, working our way down towards Manchester again. So yeah, it's I don't know, but I would tell you, going back to Glenn's question, LAPD probably they don't want a part of this. It's a misdemeanor. The sheriffs have given up on it. The CHP has given up on it. Now the sheriff's taking it back over. So I think pretty much they're just going to let them handle it. If they decide to give up on it, then so be it. So right now it looks like we're on, I believe this is 99th or 98. 98. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. If he's not putting anybody in immediate danger, and you have the felony pursuit rule that we have, but you have to maybe high rates of speed, putting people in danger, at an excess. This here would be on that, but I highly doubt that they would get that filing off this. But they've also now told the ground units to back off. You can see there's a gap between them now, so they're giving this guy some room to run, and he's just making the circuits here around this one area. Now he's jammed up in traffic, took that little alleyway there, going to work his way down way through from the angle I'm on. You'll see, it looks like he's going to pop out. Yeah, there he is, back out on the residential street. But, yeah, they've asked the ground units to back off a little bit, but he's going so slow that becomes a challenge at a point. But, yeah, the changes in the laws, I mean, nowadays, even if it's a stolen vehicle, the guy stole it, you got pictures of him stealing the car, it's a misdemeanor and pretty much going to get a citation out of the end of it. And really it's in a situation where not much happens after these pursuits unless somebody gets hurt. Yeah, we're back on Main Street now, northbound, and he's just working this one little area here. And like I said, now the sheriffs have brought in a third ship. They're doing a trade-off for the first one that's been on it for the whole time. So we're kind of having to keep a wide angle here to give them room to do their work. And now we're continuing north on Main Street here, picking up a little more speed, it looks like, as we continue on, and just kind of watching him as he goes between the trees. And they're coming up on the next intersection here. There's nobody here. There's very little cross traffic for him to deal with. And so right now it's just a matter of wait and see how this thing ends. But once again, now northbound Main Street, approaching, I'm guessing, about 57th Street as we continue on. Actually, no, we're approaching back to Manchester. So we're kind of hanging around the Manchester area here, Main, Broadway, in that area. So this next major you go through will be Manchester. So let's see what happens when he gets this cross traffic. Going through on the red light, wrong side of the street, pushes his way through, and then joins that westbound Manchester back towards the 110 freeway. South. Yeah. Well, we watched that one just last week where he drove until he ran down to the brake rotors. I mean, it's amazing what some of these cars can take for the abuse that they take during these pursuits. So, yeah, this will speed up that evolution of the tires coming off the rims and things of that sort because he's picking up more speed. But, yeah, Glue, you're absolutely right. His maneuverability goes completely away. And if he gets any speed going on, the most of your braking is on the front wheels. And so with the braking distance will go way up, and the maneuverability of those front tires to steer will go way down. And so, yeah, but he's not doing a lot of speed's not that high. In fact, the traffic is somewhat pulling away from him as about 45 miles an hour is what we're hearing from the Sheriff's Air Unit overhead. But continuing now south on the 110 freeway, this will take us down to the 105 if we make it that far. But kind of looking away here to see, kind of holding over to that right side of the freeway so you can take a ramp. I don't see any more ramps from here to the 105. So right now it's a matter of see what happens once we get a little further down. And continuing here with LA Sheriff's behind him, keeping an eye on him as we work our way south. But not putting up any speed, probably because of the tire issue he has going on after hitting that spike strip about 10 minutes ago. Are we clear in the Hawthorne? Yep. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, we're over to the side here. Actually, let's see here. Let's see what he does. Because 105 is coming up. And I'm trying to see. Okay, let's see what we do here as we continue on. Looks like he's staying on the road, the main road. As we come up into the interchange here, he'll go out of sight under the flyovers. And we'll see how this works out. But, yeah, he's coming up to the 105 here. The units are right behind him. And let's see, get a little tighter on, a little closer over the top here, clear some of these flyovers for you. And haven't quite figured out which way he's going to go yet. He's still out of sight for me. So let's see what he has. Let me come around here. It's coming up on Imperial, and he should pop out here in a second. And yeah, call him westbound 105 now. So we don't have him in sight, but he's up underneath the crossovers, and they're saying westbound 105, but I haven't seen. Oh, there he is. He's popped out down there next to the green belt, and that's going to join the 105 freeway. Yeah, if you come up, Colton. Okay, there we are. They're just there's a little green belt area that runs along the 105, and now he's going to start joining the main line, and this will take him down through the north end of Hawthorne, and then also through the area here south of Inglewood. And next freeway we come to is going to be the 405. But yeah, Glenn, you were right. If he stayed south on that 110, that would have taken him back right into the heart of Carson. But it doesn't look like that's what's happening here as we get up onto the 105 freeway, kind of cruising along here, just kind of holding about 45 miles an hour and not really doing much more than that. It looked. Yeah, they look like they're all down. I mean, your monitors are much better than mine up here, and from what I can see, they look like they're all down. So if he's riding rims on all four, it's going to be really, yeah, it's going to be a tough ride. Yeah, it's going to be a little hard to get this thing rolling, but luckily he's not going that fast. As we continue on, approaching Van Ness here on the westbound 105. This will take us down just north of Hawthorne Airport, but really going slow. If we come out just a little bit wider, we'll show you what the sheriffs are doing. They're blocking traffic behind, so they're kind of running a traffic break. You see those about 6 or 7 units there blocking traffic, and they're just going to let him run. The freeway speeds are faster than what he's doing, obviously, so everybody in front of him is pulling away, and the only thing they have to worry about is the people coming on. But as we approach Crenshaw, we'll see what he does there. That's next off-ramp is Crenshaw as we work our way down the West 105. Yeah, I mean, yeah, these freeways have just been unbelievable the last several weeks. Just empty to some days, as you can see right here. There's very little traffic. Has pulled what traffic was on the westbound side has pulled way far away, and as we come out a little bit, I'll show you the eastbound side. There's just minor traffic. This time of day, that's usually jammed. That's usually backed up pretty good, about this time of day. So you can see what this stay-at-home order has done for the freeways here. Now here comes the CHP unit. The CHP unit's pulled up here, and I bet you this is where the pit maneuver is going to happen. He's kind of going up, assessing it. It's a great spot to do it. No cross traffic, no traffic around him. You got one car coming on the freeway from Crenshaw. We just went over Crenshaw. And so I haven't heard on the scanner if they've asked CHP to take it over. And the one thing about CHP is once they're requested to take over pursuit, they want everybody out of the pursuit. Everybody else out, just the CHP units. They don't play both units or both agencies at once on a pursuit. They have a very strict policy. If you don't pull out, then they will leave. But right now you see the Sheriff's Department is enforced behind this one CHP unit, so I don't know what's going on as far as the handoff, or if there's going to be a handoff, or if they just asked the CHP to take over because they could do the pit maneuver. So this would be a prime car for that. He has no rubber, no maneuverability, and it would be easily spun out. I mean, even with rubber on it, having done pit maneuvers myself, it is simple. It's just a matter of getting up there and touching that rear side of the car and then making a slight adjustment of the steering wheel, on the brakes, on the gas, on the brakes, and then around they go. And so it's a matter of time. But it kind of looked like he was setting up there for a second to do it. But, man, we're down to probably about 20 miles an hour now as we approach Prairie here on the West 105. It won't go over any more than any other vehicle, and plus the speeds you're required to do it at somewhat prevents that, unless in the spin he hits something like a curb or a center divider that will then cause it to go under. And so, but just a normal spin out, no, there's not an issue. And we've seen him miles an hour and loop 3 or 4 times and come to a stop. But a minivan is a little bit higher and overhead as far as high center of gravity. And but the thing is that the way they do it and the speed they do it at, it's really not going to be, especially this one here at 20 miles an hour. It's not going to flip anytime soon unless it actually hits something or he hit hard by that unit. But right now it looks like they're just going to sit back and follow and see what happens here, because couldn't go much slower here on the freeways, I tell you that. Well, right now he's got 405 both directions. So the gore points are coming up to make the transition. We're coming up on Hawthorne Boulevard is what he'll be going under here in a few minutes or a few seconds. And that's Hawthorne Boulevard coming into your screen right now. And so next is the 405. And at that point, when he gets to the 405, we're going to have to see what he does. If he goes north, it's going to cause us to have to climb pretty good to get over the top of LAX and pick him up on the other side. If he comes south, it'll be fine. But coming up on the transition now, we'll see what he does. But he looks like he's holding center lane, sir. So if he continues on the 405 or on the 105, it'll dump him off there as well. We'll know on Imperial at Sepulveda. So looks like he's holding out in the center lanes down to last report was 40 miles an hour. So we'll see how this all works out. But there he's going on the first transition sign. He's not going to be north unless he makes a little sharp right turn. And it looks like we're past that. And actually, if I look down there, yeah, that takes out both. So we're committed to westbound 105 here, approaching the 405. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, but I think he's past that point. I don't know, the transition, we're past that. We're going to do the crossover, the 405 here in a second as we continue on here west. And as we approach now, yeah, he's definitely on the 105 and going over the top of the 405 right now as we go under the flyover. And so this will take us down, and this comes to an end down here at Sepulveda and Imperial. So Yeah, and if he takes that tunnel through to LAX, that's going to, oh, there's turn, boom, boom, right into the sun. Tried to make that turn. The maneuverability took it out. He wasn't able to do that. He realized he was running out of freeway. He was going to dive off onto Imperial. So right now he just tried to make the turn, spun, and hit that gore point barrier there. And now, right now, we've come to a stop here on the westbound 105, just over, I believe this is Aviation. No, actually, we're over La Cienega. It's La Cienega's a street here, just on the west side of the 105 freeway. You see officers are out, kind of keeping an eye on it. Hopefully he's not trying to back away or do anything, because that would really cause issues now. So as we sit here and watch as they go into their felony stop procedures, units getting in position, getting in behind other vehicles here, getting ready to use those PAs, the public address systems, to make the call-outs. And we'll see right now what happens as he works on trying to get him out of the car peacefully. So right now, as we always say at the end of pursuits, the outcome of this pursuit is all up to that suspect in the car. If he gives up, walks back, does what they say, it'll all be over and nobody will get hurt. But unfortunately, we don't know what's going through this guy's mind. They said it was a possible DUI driver. Is it alcohol? Is it drugs? Or is he just having some type of issue? But this has gone on for quite a while now, as we've been following this, they've been in pursuit from Carson all the way from 3 o'clock. So we're at the hour mark here as this all started, and now coming to an end here right above La Cienega on the 105. They're still back giving commands. I really can't tell if he's got hands out the windows. If we punch in a little bit more, Colton, if we could. I really can't see too well up here on this monitor, but right now it's just like his hands are out the window, and somewhat maybe complying with what the officers are ordering. Well, that could be. I mean, he hit it pretty hard on the left-hand side as he tried to make that snap right turn, and found out you don't drive very well on rims, and hit that gore point. And so right now we're just kind of keeping an eye on working on trying to get more light. There he's coming, hands out of the car, and we're looking here to see what he's doing, but he's got his hands hanging out. So maybe you're right, Lou. He can't get out that door. So they'll just tell him to climb out the window. I mean, I've done that. If I can't get out, well, then climb out the window. And so it's just a matter of what the cooperation is with that driver, whether he'll do that. I'm sorry, try that again, Glenn. Well, no, he just been evading. I don't think it's risen to the level of felony evading. I mean, he hasn't hit anybody. He's really not driven too crazy, except up in Hollywood. He got going a little too fast for the CHP, and they gave up on it. But, in our times right now, I highly doubt this is going to get to the felony level. They may arrest him on a felony, but it probably will never get past the filing of a felony. But he's just at the point now of delaying the arrest, which is a misdemeanor in itself. So I think we're still at the misdemeanor level. And then, more than likely, having lived through this for 30 years and how these things work, he'll end up getting arrested out of the pursuit. They'll offer him, driving recklessly, or they may give him the DUI and then kiss everything else off, or let everything, sorry, use a little term there, but let everything else go, or dismiss everything else. But yeah, it's you never know what ends on these things, and a lot of these pursuits we cover, we never figure out what happened after the fact, and that's usually 6 months to a year after these things come to an end. But right now, we're just going to sit here and watch this guy hang out the window, and the officers are obviously not going to approach at this point till they figure out exactly what they have. And if it turns out to be a standoff, then they'll bring in equipment that they're able to get up there next to that car and get him out of the car, give him either a chemical irritant to get him out, or just basically talk him up. With his hands hanging out the window, we don't know what the conversation is going on right now between those officers, those sheriff's deputies behind him, and that driver. So he's in control right now of how this thing's going to end. As I said, this is always how it is when these pursuits come to an end. It's up to the person in that car to determine how he or she wants it to end. And right now, it looks like a bit of standoff, a bit of a negotiation going on here, but I guarantee the sheriffs aren't going to let this run too long. Yeah, you don't know what's going on in there. I mean, there could be a combination of all that plus mental issues. You really don't know what's on board with that guy and what's his thinking, and what you're thinking of driving for this long with the police following you at so slow speeds. But right now it's just wait and see. And like I said, those deputies that are behind him have no idea what's going on in his head, what's going on inside that car, and is he playing possum on you, pretending to be drunk, hoping you leave cover and come out, and he wants to go out in a blaze of glory, or is he just some stone drunk that doesn't know what's going on or what day it is? So it's that far of a prism. I mean, or of a from one end to the other as far as where's it going to be? Where's it going to be of that scale? So right now they're just going to follow their training and their procedures and try to get this person to get out of that car and come back to them versus approaching the car. All right, and good afternoon to folks watching on KTLA.com. This is Tim Lynn aboard Sky 5. We're at the end of a pursuit here that we've been following for about an hour. It came out of Carson about 3 o'clock if you've been watching on our KTLA News at 3. Right now it's just a matter of wait and see. The guy inside the car has now just told the deputies that he can't get out because he's stuck at the waist. So apparently they're going to try to figure out some maneuver here to get up and get him out or figure out why he's stuck at the waist. But here they come. They got their shields up. Team coming up in the line, working their way up. Cover real good, working up to the suspect. And both hands are out. That's a good deal. And they're coming up, and the deputies will now help him get out of the car. As you can see right there, jerking right through the window. And down he goes, and suspect in custody. So use their tools, teamwork, and tactics to end this pursuit here on the westbound 105 right over La Cienega. So once again, this was a DUI suspect that came out of the Carson area, headed up into Hollywood, went around Hollywood for a little bit. They handed it off CHP. CHP then just decided to stop chasing because he was driving a little bit too crazy up in Hollywood. And then LA County Sheriff's took it back over as he came down into South LA. And then we followed through South LA around the 110 freeway, Broadway, Main Street, and then ended up on the South 110 freeway to the 105. And he tried to get off here at Imperial, and he lost control and smashed into that gore point. You can see right there being taken into custody by the LA County Sheriffs. All right, Roger. Dap. All right, Simon Desk Sky 5 looks like in custody, code 4. And what's your pleasure? There's a county jail bus in the backup. All right.